A very good evening to you all streaming in. You are streaming into Better Why, organized by the Rotaract Club of Colombo East and YMCA Sri Lanka. Before we move on with today's proceedings, I'd like to recognize our sponsors before we go any further. First of all, our luxury lifestyle partner, Kelly Felder, our digital media partner, Daily Mirror Online and Lankadeepa Online, and of course, our live stream partner, Plexus Labs. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on, I'd like to introduce to you what this initiative is, Better Why, a project organized by these two organizations I mentioned before, the Rotaract Club of Colombo East and YMCA Sri Lanka. What is this? It is a platform for youth to create positive discourse and understand controversial issues of today's day and age. Tonight, we'll be discussing women in business, which is one of the 13 subjects that will be put into discussion by this initiative. Before we move any further, I'd like to introduce to you the two organizations that are putting this up for you. The YMCA has a long history of working with the youth and in the field of youth development and has always found itself at the forefront of tangible change. In Sri Lanka, its history can be traced back to 1882, 138 years to date, and the National Council has provided leadership and societal change since 1962, a long history for YMCA Sri Lanka. Now, Rotaract Club of Colombo East, as one of the premier Rotaract clubs in the country, chartered in 1989, has built a reputation of finesse and articulated action as a youth-led social service and self-actualization platform par excellence. Both other organizations have a history of collaboration, and today we bring to you Women in Business, hosting the cream of female corporate in Sri Lanka to dissect the topic of gender equality in the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, given the status quo we live in and the youth who assess this particular subject, there might be misconceptions, there might be different approaches to how you will comprehend this situation. But you see, we are going to discuss this with the intellectuals we have today to understand what exactly is the reality of the situation in Sri Lanka. Is it only progressive in Colombo? Is it different outside Colombo? How is the situation progressing towards the future? Are we looking for a positive outcome in the long run, or will it be harder for women in society and in business necessarily in the upcoming years? So without any further ado, discussing women in business with us today on Better Why, we have four distinguished speakers who I will now introduce to you. So first of all, panelist Kasturi Chelaraja Wilson, a brief introduction on her, a zealous yet inspiring personality who bears the title of being recognized as the first female group CEO of a public quoted conglomerate. She held the honor of being the managing director of Hemas Pharmaceuticals and Hemas Surgical and Diagnostic Private Limited, and currently progressing with her career as the group CEO of Hemas Holdings PLC. She prides herself by being the first female figure to be elected as the president of the SLCPI. She also serves as a distinguished committee member of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, National Agenda Committee of Logistics and Maritime. Being well known as one of the top 12 women change makers by the Parliament of Sri Lanka, she's a role model to the entire women's community of Sri Lanka. Kasturi, if you can turn your camera on. Hello, and welcome to Better Why. Introducing to you our next panelist, Kishani Alanki Pereira. She has carved out a niche for herself in the entertainment industry for portraying versatile roles on the big screen, is also the title holder of Miss Pan-Continental in the year 2015. Obtaining her LLB degree from the University of London, she has been successful in establishing her entrepreneurial venture, Radha Saris. She is actively engaged in raising awareness in issues related to children and women with Sri Lanka Unites and ADDIC, a local NGO. Having worked along these lines of media, TV hosting, tourism, and acting, she proudly hosts her online talk show titled Conversations with Alanki. Alanki, if you can turn your camera on and introduce yourself. Sorry, just show yourself to us. Hello, and welcome to Better Why. Our next panelist, Dr. Sulochana Segera. Being a well-known social entrepreneur, she's the go-to person if you are interested in women empowerment. She is the proud founder and chairperson of Women in Management Private Limited, an entity dedicated to uniting Sri Lankan women entrepreneurs. Dr. Sulochana Segera is a well-known certified personality development trainer in Asia. Moreover, she is a trainer of the World Bank entity IFC and specializes in the area of sustainable private sector investment. She is also the official trainer for the brand 5 by 20, which is an initiative for the development of 5 million women by way of empowerment and economic development. Dr. Sulochana Segera is part of the British Council's Active Citizenship Project. She is the patron of the TEA project, UK-based project in Sri Lanka, Empowering Children. And she sits in the advisory committee of the Ministry of Skills of Development, Employment, and Labor Relations. She has won many national and international accolades, such as Social Entrepreneur of the Year 2019, Global CSR Excellence Award 2018, for being a mentor, counselor, and investor of goodwill. Sulochana, if you can turn your camera on. Hi. Hello and welcome to Better Why. Last but not least, panelist Sandra De Zoiza. Sandra is the Group Chief Customer Officer of Dialogue and the chairperson of the Digital Customer Experience Expert Working Group of ASEATA. Sandra is also a director of Dialogue Business Services. In addition to her role as Dialogue, she is the founding member and the vice chair of SLASCOM, the Knowledge and Innovations Chamber of Sri Lanka, a founding member on the board of Women's Chamber for Digital Sri Lanka, and founding VP of the Sri Lanka Institute of Service Management. With over 3 decades of experience in the ICT industry, she is the recipient of multiple global and local awards for women in management leadership and for her exceptional contributions and achievements in the sphere of telco and digital customer experience management. Sandra is an avid keynote speaker, panelist, and presenter, and has spoken at over 150 global events. She's a visiting lecturer at the University of Colombo School of Computing as well. Sandra, if you can turn your camera on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at your 4 exceptional speakers who will be providing us with wisdom with regard to this topic at hand, women in business. Before we move on any further, I want to remind our viewers of the challenge that was put up on our social media page, Facebook and Instagram, giving you an opportunity to win a gift card from Kelly Felder of 5,000 rupees. We will be selecting 4 winners. What you have to do is very simple. Just comment and like this live stream and share our posts on your stories. And please mention Rotaract Club of Colombo East on your story. And please tell us about the most inspirational female character in your life and why. All right, without any further ado, we will start today's discussion. The first question is to all of our speakers. And the first question is, what is the most supportive thing that anyone has ever done or said to you that had an impact on yourself as a woman in business? I'd like to start off with Alanki, if that's okay with everyone else. Alanki, would you like to kick us off with the conversation?
Hi.
Yeah.
So I think the most inspirational thing that anyone has done, I could think of my mother, because my mom and I are co-partners of our business, Radha Saris. And I think I didn't really have to look far for inspiration, because my mom is a fearless, bold woman who takes on challenges. And I think she inspired me. It's not one particular thing that she did or said, but it's just the way she conducts herself. And I think it's very important that women have other women as inspirations, because I think it is very important that the woman can inspire another woman. And in my case, it was definitely my mom. She definitely takes on any challenge, and I didn't have to look far for inspiration.
Thank you, Alanki. I'd like to next move on to Sandra. Would you give us your input on the question?
So I can't really think of any one person, because along the way, I think so many people have done some stuff that's been really good for me and has given me opportunities. One such person, of course, would be my boss of like 20 years, who has given me so many opportunities along the 20 years to sort of try anything I want, do anything I want without fear of failure, or even if I failed, it didn't matter, I could move on. So giving this opportunity to just do whatever you want, be creative as you want, be as bold as you want, I think that was an opportunity I can't forget. Another, when you talk about someone who has said something to me, I can think of, just right now, I just thought of my father-in-law, who actually said to me that you're comfortable when you're uncomfortable. And he seemed to think that, I'm like always striving hard to do something. So I thought about it and I thought, okay, this is a really good thing. I mean, this was like some 27 years ago, but I thought it's good that if I learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's where I will succeed. So I think that's something that someone said to me that has really worked for me.
Okay. Can we hear Dr. Sulochana also give us an insight with regard to this question?
You are asking for a woman who has inspired or a male who has inspired?
It could be any individual, not
Okay.
necessarily centered to a gender.
Okay, right. So if I look at from the personal side, I would first give my father the opportunity because he is the one who has supported me because I was not the, what do you call, a real daughter, but a tomboy, which my father said, you have to have that being, don't be too nice to people, then they will take you for granted, be yourself. So that's something. But if you look at the women, there has been a lot of women, and one person I still admire apart from my mother is my ex-mother-in-law. To date, I think I have learned a lot. I think many women has to learn about being honest and being, you have to stand on your ground. Whatever happened, she always says, I'll take the right side. It doesn't have to be my son or it doesn't have to be my daughter-in-law. If she's right, I'll stand by her. So that's what I have realized, that in life, you don't need to be support just because they are yours, but support for the right thing, which is most uncomfortable thing. And if you look at the business or career, there are more women who have supported me and more men who have supported me, but all who said no to me has supported me because all the struggles in my life I have seen as opportunity. So everyone, in a way, they have supported my success.
That's very
That's
inspirational, ma'am. Kasturi, can we hear your input on this as well?
Yeah, so I'll just give two stories I was listening to also. I won't repeat some of these, but I endorse what Sandra says. My boss pushed me into places. They gave us a license to do whatever. But the first thing I would like to say is actually when I started, wanted to go into full-time work, and I was having two young kids, I was riddled with guilt. How do I get about it? So I think my dad said, Nangi, just go ahead. Don't worry. We'll look after the home front. So that the fact those words were sent to me, and when I was kind of in a crossroad feeling I was doing wrong by the kids by going into full-time work, that worked. The second thing which is very impactful for me is when I started, I went to corporate and I was at Hemas. My first boss was my current boss's elder brother, Abbas. And they traditionally used to have these directors conferences where we go out of Colombo for 3 days. And the family joins on the second day. So the first day it's only the directors, family come, spouses and kids come on the second day. But there had been a mail sent out. Kasturi's kids join her on day one along with her. So that means with the team. I didn't know it had happened, but then when I heard this, it was like, this was within a 6 months of joining, and I felt, wow, so they have adjusted, they have accepted the fact my kids are priority. They have changed rules and made sure that others don't talk about it. And that made a huge difference in how I knew that I could operate in that environment. So that was my number two, second story.
Wow. Okay. This next question is to Ms. Sulochana Segera. How did you get to where you are right now in your career and personal life?
Okay. So first thing is, I don't see that I have gone anywhere. What I feel is that life, every stage of my life had an opportunity and a struggle and also success. So I don't feel like that I'm successful, but I think I'm going on a journey, not alone, but with few people whom I believe that they are the people who are going to change the world. And also it's not me. There are so many people depending on me. So that responsibility carries on with me. So how I have come here is because I couldn't give up on my children's dreams, and I wanted my children to have a role model. And that was the main reason, because even today I say my journey is because I wanted my kids to have a future and look at leadership in a different way. And the other one is for women who has no opportunities, who has no role models. who are not in Colombo but in rural, for them to look at me or to have someone to dream about. You know, many women whom I have met in my life, they have so much of talent, but they just need acceptance and respect, which I wanted to give them so that they can be that next generation to build a role models for their children. I do not want women to be role models for all the people. Just be a role model for your children, then they are successful. So for me, coming to this level has been a very difficult journey, but a very happy journey also. All the struggles which I met was opportunities, as I said before. And also, I was a career woman, right? So when I gave up my job, I still remember my managing director called and said, why are you giving the resignation without a job? But I had that, how to say, being a single mother at 27 years, having two kids in a reputed Colombo schools without having a single saving, I had a gut feeling that I can go ahead. So my family all said, you're mad, you don't know business, and our family didn't know anyone who's doing business, right? But I just left the job and I stayed 1 month home without a job. And I at that time I realized that I can do anything because my children need to be fed and I need to go out and look for money, not for myself, for my children. So when I started my business as a headhunting company for senior management, I realized that women positions are not being hired for senior management. That's when I did my research. I've been a trainer, but I never felt that there was a issue that we females were, women were not being headhunted for higher positions. So that's how I started Women in Management, just to say that, because I still remember I argued with a MD when he said, we want someone to the senior management. I said, I want a male. I said, why? Then he said, you know, females take maternity leave. So I said, when they're 40, they hardly get babies. So they won't get, they don't need maternity leave. But that was a thought and the myth that I think male dominated industries had. But I was able to change it. So that's how I think where I am today is because I wanted to be there, because I thought it was my right path, and because I thought I have to be a mentor for my kids and other women. That's where I am.
Wow, that's empowering. Very empowering. Thank you so much, ma'am. This next question is to Ms. Kasturi. Do you think that women in Sri Lanka get more opportunities in the job market? If not, why?
So Ritmaka, can I just understand you're saying compared to before or compared to other countries?
I'm saying currently the situation in Sri Lanka is what we want to fish out for. Comparison, well, let's say an ideal world where everything is perfect. If we compare today to a world like that, what is the situation in Sri Lanka?
Okay, so I don't think, I believe the ideal world is what you make of it and what is how you take all the ingredients and make it. But we're blessed, like I think sometime before Sandra did say, compared to our mothers' eras and our eras, when we started our career, we see much more opportunities for women. That's in different contexts. One is you see more women aspiring to come into work, wanting careers while wanting their personal aspirations of being a mom or a wife or whatever. You have made different entries. Now the traditional barriers have been broken. I think 10 years ago when I went into logistics and transportation, we didn't have many women. Today, 10 years fast forward, we have loads of women in that and holding leading positions. So we've seen it is all three aspects have been covered. We've seen improvement and it is moving in the right direction. The aspect of the corporates accepting and giving, not stereotypically labeling roles for men or women. Most corporates, I'm just talking in general, there are the minority who still haven't evolved, but look, the thing is they'll be forced to evolve because you've seen the leading companies evolve in thinking. The second aspect of women wanting more for themselves and wanting to have options and not being tied on to the traditional notion of I only have to be an accountant and back office. I only have to be lawyer, so that's easy. I only want to get into a government job because it's this, or I only have to get into a teacher's job because it's this. So these options have been broken. I see very really creative women out there. In fact, I was at Dialogue on one of their Toastmaster things, and I saw a young girl who was inducted. She was a musician, she was an engineer, and she was an accountant and doing sales. All of 25 or 20. I was thinking, wow, how can, she has broken all boundaries. She has just not stereotypically thought of one thing. So that is there. The third aspect is that we've got women who want both careers and motherhood, and they are entering into corporate world. Previously, they chose not to. They're willing to enter. But what we need to sort out is, I think we can do better and support, is influence the fact that culturally the homemaker can be a dual parenting role, or husbands and wives can actually do jointly. And I'm sure it comes from two aspects for me. I think the marriages would be healthier, and secondly, kids would actually benefit by having co-parenting happening. So that, I think, aspect has to be sorted out. And the second aspect is culturally, I think we can also do more by accepting women from the family's perspective, not from a corporate society's perspective. From family's perspective, accept and encourage the women to go out and find their passion, whichever it may be. The passion is not to really join the workforce and do some home business. So from all aspects, I think we have improved. Is this the ideal situation? No, I yet feel that there's so much more we can do. But remember, culturally, every environment and layer has to change. I know for a fact how the boardroom had to adjust to accepting a female leader there. And it's not only us changing, it is them also changing. And it's not, and I don't blame them. It is not that they are doing it purposely. It's an unconscious bias. Because historically, if you look 25 years ago, you would only see boardroom pictures of men in suits and black suits. Now you have cooler pictures, men in jeans, shirts, women, colorful things. So it's time. And with time, I must proud to say that Sri Lanka has really moved, and we are back with the government policy of encouraging women. So I guess we are on the correct track, and we should be blessed, because when I look back at India, there it's competitive. Women go head to head with men on equal. We don't actually go head to head. We kind of still have that trump card. I still have to become a homemaker. So we have this thing of, look, I will compete, but I won't compete in equal footing. I might get a benefit of working flexi and I'll still manage, kind of story.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Kasturi. This next question is to Ms. Sandra De Souza. The question goes like this. A high proportion of the women population in Sri Lanka find their family commitments as a barrier to their career path. What are your opinions regarding this, and recommend some steps to sustain the work-life balance of women?
Okay, so I think really I'm not the best person to answer this question. If I'm being very sincere, honest, and truthful, I've had no work-life balance whatsoever. It's completely an imbalance, purely because of the fact that I don't want to say I'm a workaholic. I just enjoy work. I love work.
Yeah.
Back 10 years ago or 20 years ago, when there was a holiday or a Saturday and Sunday, I used to be really upset, saying, oh, damn, it's a holiday. Of course, it's not like that now. Right now, times have changed, and I kind of look forward to a holiday, except that nothing much actually changes, because you're at home anyway, you're working from home, and you really don't know Saturdays from holidays to other days, right? But what it is that I have been lucky in my life to be able to focus on my passion and build a career, purely and simply because I had family support. I had a husband who did not have a problem about it. I still have my husband who's really, really very supportive, whole day stuck in a room in front of like a Zoom call or a Microsoft call, and he has nothing to say, and he's very supportive. But even as I had my daughter, right from day one, I had a mother-in-law who was wonderful. She liked to be the queen of the home. I wanted to go to work, so I let her be the queen of the home. So we had a great relationship like that because she looked after my daughter and she just managed everything. So I felt like I outsourced home management and running to my mother-in-law. She was happy. I had a better relationship with her. And I think I was out of the way and I was happily doing my work. And, I could focus singularly on work mostly, other than, of course, the times that I would have put in for my daughter when I came home and, on a need basis, whatever. But the mundane usual things she would take care of for the day, right? Like the cooking, cleaning, and everything else, homemaker. So that was one. But what I've learned from it, looking back 20 years, or, she's 26 now. So when I look back at my 26, 27 years, I could have done it differently. And because of that, what I do is I have all of my managers, all of my staff, I have like 2,000 of them working on my team, and all of them are anything in the age of 18 to now like 40. But the 40-year-olds are the ones with the young kids. The 30, 40-year-olds have kids who are 3 and 10, and some of them, they were just doing their A levels. So what I've learned is I've tried to make it better for them, make them understand what it is. So although I don't do what I do, even if I see any one of them sending me an email at like 10 o'clock in the night, I said, don't you think it's bedtime? Good night. Right? And I really try to tell them, like, get off. When I go into office, I go in on a Saturday at all odd times. And when I see staff in office, I actually tell them off. I say, don't you have a home? Don't you have a girlfriend? Don't you have a life? Get away. What are you doing in office? Right? So I really try to make sure that all of them don't go on a workaholic path, or they know how to balance their lives, right? And I've tried a lot to sort of build other parts of it into my life. So right now, not right now, for a long time now, weekends are like my thing, my time, and I'm just like doing just what I want, from chilling, doing the things I like. Kasturi, of course, has a big grin on her face because she knows there's this one thing that I need to do to balance my life that I haven't been able to do yet in like all of my life. And that is building a nice exercise regime and sleeping on time and eating healthy. So she's grinning a lot because she's dying to say something about it. Because she knows that my life is completely in imbalance, right? But I'm also on this journey, like Sulochana said. So in this journey of mine, I'm actually trying to build in all of that one step at a time. And I am going to get down to this exercise regime as well, I think next year. So one thing at a time, but I'm chilling now. I'm doing a lot of things to bring back balance into my life. But for everyone else that I know in my life, I prescribe that they do nothing other than, work this much, nothing more, just build it in. You don't have to overwork. You don't have to be a workaholic. You don't have to do all that. Just build everything. And for my daughter, I tell her all the time, I said, listen, you just have to have a balanced life. Look at Auntie Kass. Look at Auntie Kass, how she does it. You have to exercise. You have to eat healthy. So I kind of prescribe to everybody what a perfect work-life balance is, although I don't do it. And then I sort of point people in the direction and say, look, like this one, like that one. You need to be like this one and like that one. Not like me. And I actually tell a lot of my team members, my staff, you need to pick up the best in me, not the worst in me. So please go to sleep on time. Please eat healthy. Please exercise. And do not pick up the bad habits that your boss has. Don't look at me and pick up my bad habits. So I think that's what I can tell you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if it's fair for me to ask this question, but if a woman is in a situation where that particular job she's involved in is demanding of her commitment and she has this balance issue, how would you recommend she respond to a situation like that?
So it's like this, right? In life, it's like a game of, balancing many acts, right? Balancing little, let's say you're doing the juggling. So at any point in time, right, in a day, everything is not equally important. So on a scale of 1 to, let's say 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, right? So for instance, if your kid is having his or her exams, then you need to be there and nothing else is as important. If your mom or your parent or someone, a loved one is ill, then, to hell with work. I'm going to do that, right? If you have your best friend's birthday or wedding or something, to hell with everything else, I'm going to be there and do that, right? Similarly for me, if I think, okay, I have to go and cut my hair or I have to do something, it's me, it's important to me. I'm just going to leave everything, my work as well, and go cut my hair, right? So in a day, everything is a matter of balancing, not perfectly. You can't do everything every day, 0 to 10 on a scale of 0 to 10 at 10, right? Some things might go down to 4 and 5 while others are at 10. But that's a whole juggling act along life, along the whole day. So some things become more important some days, other things become more important and can take the back burner, right? So I would say you just have to do it as long as it's in your heart, you feel happy that you're doing the right thing in your head, right? You just have to prioritize and do it, because you can justify to yourself as to why you're doing this one today that's more important and some other thing is going on the back burner. You know why, you know what's right? You know what needs your attention intuitively, right? So you just have to follow your heart and do that.
So can I just give my perspective in that? I endorse what Sandy says, and I've been in that situation a lot of times because my kids were young and growing up. But Sandy's right. It is the choices are yours, and remember, it will be a perfect imbalance all the time. Which way it's balanced? Sometimes it's over for family, it's overly weighted towards family. Some days it's overly corporate or company, but the choice is yours. And that's depending on whether the meeting or whatever event is more important than kids, or whether the child is really sick and you choose that. But you will know in your heart because you make the choice and you have to live with it. What I don't endorse for people to do is make your choice and then crib about it saying, I had to do this. So the company, I'm working. Look, you have a choice, you have choices. And the secret to that is have open conversations with home and with work, with your bosses. Tell them the landscape. Some days they'll see you working till 10 o'clock and delivering. But it depends on it. It's a day-to-day imbalance act. And you would know which is your perfect balance within that imbalance.
Yeah. Dr.
Either way,
Shivasan
at the
also
end of
wanted
it,
to...
Yeah, I just want to say at the end of it, I think all the ladies here will agree, you have to be happy and you have to be comfortable in your skin. So don't do what makes you unhappy, because there's no point in it, right? Nobody's going to benefit from doing something to make someone else happy and you're so unhappy. That doesn't get you anywhere. So I have to add that in.
Thank you, Sandra.
Just to come in, I'll agree with Kasturi and Sandra, but this question always asks from women, not from men, right? So next time ask from men also, because they also has to balance. But there is nothing called balance. You cannot balance, right? Because you work for your family and your family depend on your work. As Kas said, you have a choice, but ensure your choice is which, as Sandra said, you're being happy. But for my example, because now our children are grown up, so people will say, we all don't understand when you have small kids. So for this thing, I would say like this: I have lived with my kids, I have worked with my kids, still I go with my kids. If wherever I go for a function, you see my kids are my passengers, because I have no one to keep them, right? I have a daughter. So you have to make your choice whether your journey is with your children, with your family. So be happy and make a choice, but you cannot balance it. While you're working, you cannot say, I'm going to forget about my family and only concentrate on work. When you're at home, you cannot forget about your business and work. And please note, this is not only for women. Men also should know how to learn, because men also have a family and like women, and they also have children.
Thank you so much. This next question is to Alanki. The question goes like this. Have you ever had moments where the decision you made were biased and not taken seriously just because of your gender? What did you do in those moments, if such moments exist?
Not really many times in my life, because since I do my own thing and I do my own business, I've always had to make my own decisions and I've not really had to have approval from anyone else. But I do know that when it comes to like many women, men do really discriminate. Women are being discriminated. And usually they're looked down upon. And I think something that I really need to mention is if you take politics, for example, I know we're talking about business today, but it's important that we also understand that if you take politics, you have these parliamentarians, and these parliamentarians are lawmakers, and lawmakers do define our future. And over 50% of the public consist of women, but we only see like a few women being represented in parliament. And I also think that this is because there's a lot of discrimination. I've spoken to a lot of women in politics, and something they always say is it's really hard for a woman to make it in politics. So I think it's important that men don't discriminate women. That you have to look at women as your equal. And it's not saying that women are better than men or anything like that, but it's just saying, like, as a woman you should have the right to take your own decisions. And as men, I think men should know to respect a woman's decision. So I do believe that many women are being discriminated against, and simply because they're a woman, because most men feel that women belong in the house. They should be homemakers, they should look after their kids. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, it is possible for a woman to have a career and to be a mother. I know I'm not a mother, I'm not married, I do not have the experience to talk about it, but I do believe that it is possible for women to pursue a career, pursue their dreams, regardless of being a mother or not.
Thank you, Alanki. This next question is to Ms. Kasturi. Were there any gender-related roadblocks you faced in your career? And if so, how did you overcome them? Do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I do get it, but I was just thinking, so for me, being the personality I am, and I come from a sports background, and coupled with the fact that I'm a tomboy, I don't think I look at roadblocks seriously. Even if it's gender related, I would just think of pushing it through and handling it. So I mean, to that answer, no. And I was blessed to have a company like Kemas, which it was very inclusive, secular, gender was encouraged to succeed. And I guess they were overly sensitive that women had another responsibility. So, I mean, even now, we allow women to actually work from home, flexi hours, but we encourage them to stay in the system. And I mean, our index of senior management is about 25% now in the senior management of women. Having said that, I do understand, look, the other side of it, how do the men see us, right? Most of the male leaders and seniors, if they, at home, the woman's role is not, it is that they see the woman a different way. They are not used to very few, I'm again talking in general, are used to having the equality conversation. So they treat the woman as a wife, and traditionally men are taught in Sri Lanka, you have to treat a wife this way. So for them, it's very tough to handle the equality side of it on a corporate front. So I noticed that a lot, because I keep saying that once I come to the senior position, I get this feedback from people saying Kasturi she's a very tough lady, very straight, but very tough. And I'm thinking of it the other way. I'm thinking, what if a man walked in and has the same personality as me, as in straight, and doesn't spend too much of time talking politics and talking all the frills and kind of soft peddling issues? What would they have said about that man? They would have said the man is a very straight businessman. The tough part wouldn't have come in. That's because they're not used to seeing a woman in that role. So I'm very mindful of that. So it takes time. How I've handled it is I've taken time for them to understand consistently where I come from. So they know that I'm not coming from any hidden agenda. I just need this done. And especially when I work with government or senior partners of our business partners, they need to understand this is my intention, this is where I come from. And once they get to know you and get to know that you don't mean any disrespect by being straight and forthright and what they perceive as tough, you kind of you own your space. Like Sandra said, you own your skin. and you're comfortable in it. But the thing is, you have to make sure others are comfortable. And I'll tell you honestly, it takes the time, it takes a while for the others to get comfortable. And it's an unconscious thing, right? Because you just think back, how many of their wives work? No, most of them would be at home waiting to make, I mean, the senior CEOs and government officials, their senior heads, where do they work? The partners, ideally, their wives would be at home mostly, 90%, right? And for them, they're not used to it. So it's a lot of awareness about people around and not getting angry about it. I do my part in adjusting to that. But the inflection is making sure you hold true to what yourself is and you understand that you're not compromising yourself. And I'm not changing my style too much. I might take it slow, and so that I don't really just shock them the first time I have a conversation and I want something done. But yeah, I guess that I find as not a roadblock. I find that it is an adjustment for people around me. So it doesn't help. I wear sari and walk in, and then when I have to handle things tough, it's like a straight tough lady. I've heard this so many times. I don't mind the straight. I'm wondering what this tough means. Tough is because I'm getting it. It's because they're not used to a woman being firm. So that's I see it that way.
I've actually got to say something about it as well. I actually agree with Kasturi, because something I've been told is that I'm quite tough simply because I'm straightforward. And I think this is something that men don't like to accept, because they always feel that women should be a certain way, where they accept whatever the man says. And sometimes it's tough for men when you take the decisions and you run your own business and you do your own thing. It's not something they're used to. And I also feel that if you are a woman who leads, especially if you're a woman and you have many men who work under you, I think sometimes men feel intimidated and they don't want to be led by a woman. So I think this is something that needs to be addressed. Men just need to get comfortable with the fact that men and women can both lead.
Yeah. I have a lot of things to say about what was just said, but I'm not going to say it now because no, I'm not defending men. I just have a lot of things to say with regards to this because it's around gender roles, stereotyping, and prejudice. But I will talk about it at the end of this discussion. But we'll move on with the conversation at hand, which are the questions. Question number 7. This is to Dr. Sulochana Segera. Any pattern you have seen in the workplace that suggests differences between how men and women handle certain situations and how they are treated in those situations? Do you want me to repeat the question now?
No, I'm okay. I think it's connected to the previous question you asked from Kasturi. So first I would say leadership has no gender, and it's how you approach and how you make decisions that has the gender comes in and the attitude comes in, right? So it's a woman always, they say, there are two ways of the brain works and two ways of how decisions are made by men and women, because leaders, they say leaders are not born, but 60% leaders are born, 40% leaders are made by competencies and training, right? So those 60%, from that 60%, more than 50% leaders are female leaders because they are born with leadership skills, right? But the leadership skills are not being trained enough to make it into the front line. So when they make decisions, it's always, whether we like it or not, our biology says women think twice before making a decision, because women sees long term while men sees the short term, right? It's not what I'm saying, it's a psychological thing. There is in Sinhala saying, so I always thought this is a funny thing, but I was listening to a psychologist and she explained it's true, because and Ganunge Nona Handimite Durai Kira. So what it says is, when a woman sees another woman walks like 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer away, she knows whether the man is going to look at her or not, but the man has not even decided to look at her, right? But she knows that how she's going to walk there and how he's going to look at it. But when woman is nearby him, only he sees and he turns, right? That because the women sees the long term and men sees the short term. So when women make decisions, it's more about strategical decisions. When men make decisions, it's about result oriented and it's about situational leadership, right? Where it is now, it's the situation, now I need results. But women doesn't want to make that results, thinking that that's why everyone is blaming that when women are not risk takers. Not that they are not risk takers. They have taken the biggest risk the day they decided to get married to a man, because that is the biggest risk they have taken in life, right? But what I see in the corporate level is when women make decisions, they use their mind and heart both to make decisions. That because female feel empathy while male candidate feels sympathy, because they feel sorry for that situation. But the female always get into the other shoe and rethink about how that person is going to handle it, what my medicine is going to make, and whether it's a positive impact or negative impact. So decision makings on the gender is too different because of these, what do you call, conscious and unconscious thinking and our biological system. But if you ask me whether men has issues with women being working with, or women has issues with men working with, and there are a lot of disputes, I would say this: our culture has not taught us how to look at the other woman as your companion. Because we all, when a conference or when a panel discussion comes, men speak about women, about their mother, about their wife, about their daughter. They hardly speak about the colleague who's working with, because it's an uncomfortable zone. Our culture has not trained them or given opportunities for male and females to work together. This comes from our childhood because they are boys' school, girls' school. So if a boy and a girl get friendly, it has to be a love affair. It cannot be a friendship, or it can be a partnership. So that has come up to this corporate level. But that's our age. But in your age, the new generation, it's no more there. It's about getting the results, deliveries. So I don't think what we are facing now is going to be faced by y'all, because y'all have come out of this gender thing where y'all are looking at what's the result, what the deliveries. But the decision making always be how the women and women make. It's a two different, but end of the day, we have to look at what's it, the deliveries and the results. So that's how I feel.
Thank you, Sulochana. This next question is to Ms. Sandra D'Souza and Ms. Sulochana again. The question goes like this. As a woman who is thriving in your career, how do you manage your work life and your personal life, especially during the pandemic, where all the family members are at home quarantined together? Can we start off with Sandra?
Yeah, so well, sadly, I don't have to talk about a whole pandemic situation of everyone's being quarantined together and all that stuff, because I have one beautiful daughter, one very lovely, special daughter. And sadly for me, I can't see her right now in person because she lives in Australia. So, other than the time I spend, like talking to her on messaging and stuff like that, it's just me and my husband at home. And as I told you, my husband is super, super supportive. So if I'm working 12 hours, he's just not going to disturb me in the 12 hours, right? He'll probably ask me, are you going to eat? Can I get you a cup of tea or something like that? But he's not going to bother me otherwise. So I have my space and I have the freedom, the luxury and everything to just work all the time if that's what I want to do. So I'm, I suppose, one of those super blessed people compared to a lot of others who may have a lot of different challenges. And I find in my team, even when I look at everyone around me, including my PA who has a little 3-year-old, a lot of my managers, 3 of my GMs currently have their children doing their A-levels. And I ask them every day, I say, I pray for them. How did your son do? How did your daughter do? Is the exam over? So I really do understand everything they have to go through. And for me, for them, their kids have to come first. So anything they want to do, anytime they want to take off to, do whatever it is for the kids, the family, mostly it's kids, I think, when I talk in general, there are other times when moms are ill, fathers are ill, and so on. Mostly it's about everyone obsessing about their children because they just want their children to do better than them. They want to give their children a better life than they are having or they had. End of the day, that's all they're working towards. They're just doing everything just for that. And I understand that because I can look back and say, like, I mean, even Kasturi knows, Sulochana's got there. We're in a place where we're like, oh my gosh, thank God. We've taken on this responsibility and we've really gone down that path and we've come to this place. I mean, we have kids that have gone to uni and, they've done their journey. And then, I'm like saying, okay, I just have one or two other things to do, which is like, give my daughter in marriage and she's got to do her master's and then, next, maybe she'll have children and oh my gosh, I'll have to do these grandma things, like look after her children. And I've already told her, here, listen, I'm going to pet your kids. I'm going to do everything, but don't think you're going to leave your children with me to look after them full time and you go off to work because I still want to work, right? So stuff like that. So what it is really actually understanding, the situation other people are in. For me, I don't really have pandemic or not. I don't have a situation, but I'm really conscious of the fact that in this pandemic, everyone else has a really, really tough time, a lot tougher than ever, particularly because when your kids are around you, right? And one of my managers was repeating a story this morning saying there was a kid howling and banging at the door when he was actually in a meeting and talking. And the kid was shouting, Tate, Tate, Dorarinna, and howling. And that guy was really embarrassed and he had to actually say, sorry, apologize and run off. Now, I find kids coming into meetings and, showing up on the camera and all that. And then I talk to them. I say, and I make sure that they are comfortable. And I'm always telling everyone, if the kids are coming, if people are walking around, if the dogs are barking, this is today's world, right? This is what it is to work from home, right? I mean, right now I'm wearing shorts at the bottom and a nice blouse on top. It's work from home, right? So that's how it goes. But, everyone has to get used to this new world, new life, adapt, be agile, be accommodating more than anything else. So like Sulochana said, we are very, very empathetic beings. And that's like the huge difference between men and women because we are empathetic. We can walk in someone else's shoes. We can quickly put ourselves in that scenario. We can really feel, oh my gosh, this is what you should do. In fact, if someone says they want a day off and I would ask them, is it why? I mean, are you looking okay? Are you okay? And if I think they feel stressed or something, and then they say, my mother is sick or my child is going for an exam. And then I ask them about it. And then I remember genuinely and say, is the exam over? I prayed for your son's exam or whatever, right? And I understand. So it's the way of being able to say, I was a mother, I was there. And I know how super, super stressed I was when my daughter was doing the exam. Like I just wanted to pull my hair out, right? And I understand now that today they are in that position. So it's really just helping others balance while you balance yourself as well and manage this in this situation by using your heart and your head and really using your heart as well, bringing empathy into it.
Yeah. Dr. Sulochana?
I'm not lucky as you, Sandra, so I have no help. I thought, okay, it's holidays, you can sleep till at least 5 o'clock. I get up at 3 o'clock still. I had to cook for 3 meals. I had to look after 2 dogs, 2 turtles. And then I have many office work because judging happening for 2 awards. And I'm like, I put something in the kitchen, then I work, I go there and I do my everything. So I'm not lucky, I said, but what I've seen is this pandemic has actually stretched me sometimes because I'm tired, I cannot sleep also because a lot of people depend on me who cannot approach anyone help, and I do not know why. I've been a hotline for many, and when they're hungry also they remember me, but it's so difficult because I'm also in a situation, I'm a single mother and 2 kids and aging mother who is not well. So yesterday our area was open to get your pharmacy and all that, where I have took my mother to Rajagiri because she was so sick. So when I came home, it was 3 o'clock. I had few hours to do my shopping, and all that. When I came home, my kids were hungry because they had classes, they couldn't cook. But I said, you have to skip your lunch. I cannot buy from out. I'm not sure what it's going. So I have to cook dinner. Then I had a same Zoom call around 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock. So these things happen. So what I see is pandemic is not same for everyone. I see a lot of people from outside who are not having this opportunity cause and say, we have, even it's open, I do not have money, can you send some rice? So it's so difficult, because when I eat, I always remember that person call, I just said, I'll try. Now I'm eating, now they must be hungry. So that guiltiness also is in me. So it's like not your own problem, you get into others' problem also. So I think now I'm aging, I should know where to draw my line, but that it's not happening. So I think I have not slept for 4 days because of these calls. But then again, we have, as women, we are more resilient, and we have to look at things, opportunities and all that. So what I'd say is, for all the young women who are struggling, this is not going to be too long. Just hold it on. It's not about, yes, they say the hungry woman is angry woman, but the hungry woman will create many opportunities. So if you do not have that opportunity at your home, just look at the future, and I'm sure you will find a way. Whatever you are going through, because yesterday I see so many young girls are brought by men for begging in our road. They actually press the bell. So at around 7:30, when my doorbell rang, I went out and to see this 10-year girl with a father, they call him. You definitely can see he's a drug addict, but no one speaks because they were scared. So I have to ask, why are you bringing your daughter for begging and all that? Then my kids were shouting at me, say, what the hell? Why are you getting angry for their things? But then I feel it. I was wondering whether he's going to sell that girl to someone. So we also have to learn a way of coming out while helping others. So the pandemic has not been rosy for everyone, but I would say, as women, have empathy. You don't need to feed everyone, but just a call to say hi, are you okay? That will be a very nice thing. I actually put a message to all my women members saying, during this period, just give a call to someone and ask whether they are doing good. That would be the best way to lift others up. This is what I think.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sulochana. This next question goes to Alanki. Yeah, the question goes like this. As a person who started a business from scratch, have you ever had problems such as lack of investors because of your gender?
Honestly, I've not had to face that problem because I was able to invest in my own business. So I didn't really encounter that problem. But yeah, I'm not sure how it works with others who cannot invest in their own business and who need help. So, but I've heard of stories of where there are many women who want to pursue their dreams and careers, but then who do not have sufficient investors. And because of that reason, they cannot pursue their careers, which is very unfortunate. But luckily, I've not had to face that situation.
Thank you, Kishani. This next question goes to Sandra De Souza. It goes like this. What are some of the unconscious biases out there, like how men and women are perceived in the business world, that you have encountered, and how did you manage that to get ahead? Men are, for example, men are often judged by their potential, and women are often judged by their prior experience. This is the example that the organizing committee has provided for me. If the other speakers also want to give their input on this particular question, you are also welcome.
So I think there are many unconscious biases. One that I always think I've come across all my life, and I mean, I think that continues to be the case even today. But one that I remember, two that I remember, in my first job, I was taken for a certain role And then I was in my very, very early 20s, about 22, I think. And then I was told, I was actually moved to a different job because there was a consultant who joined soon after I had been recruited. And he was sort of, I think, telling them, if they can to, like, since it's very earlier on in the day, to get rid of me or something. But otherwise, it was about saying, okay, move her to do some, female kind of job, like back office, because she couldn't handle this. And it was so ironic looking back now, because I'm still in the same business 30 something years later. And his thing was, he said, oh, this is a very mobile phone technology, and it's about technology, and it's not something for young females. Females don't get taken seriously. She's too young. And, she has to deal with men in boardrooms and directors and CEOs, and she can't handle that, right? And women can't have the technology conversation. So that was my very first job at 22. I was heartbroken. But I stayed on. And I, battled that out. Then in my second job, I moved. I had just got married also, and then had my daughter. And I was, during the entire pregnancy, I was really worried. So I actually, because my, boss was not so pleased about it. So as a result, I had to actually work the entire 9 months. I mean, it wasn't hard for me anyway. I didn't need to take time off. I just drove myself to hospital as well to have my baby, so it doesn't matter. But the thing is, I was so worried because he told me while I was on maternity leave, he told me, well, if you're going to stay 3 months at home, then why would I need you again? As in, you don't need to come back, right? And I was really insecure because honestly, he had recruited another young lady, younger and all of that. And he asked me to, like, she moved into my room as well. And she was, working as an understudy. And I kind of felt like I might lose my job. So as a result, I actually stayed home only 1 month during my paid maternity leave. I didn't mind, but because I had, very supportive family. I went back to work actually on my paid maternity leave. After 30 days, I went back to work, right? So I'm saying the fact that you're a woman is this biggest unconscious bias that all men have. One other situation I can think of is on a sort of a male boardroom in the early days, all male, only me. And they always started the conversation or referred to anything as, so now, good evening, gentlemen. Or like, okay, now, gentlemen, what do you think? And it was always, and the thing is, they didn't feel it at all. They really didn't think of it, but they kept saying gentlemen, and I used to feel really uncomfortable. So I used to always say, by the way, I'm here as well. I'm not a gentleman. Then after a while, I kind of realized they was really nice because they said, hey, to us, you're like one of us, you're one of our machans. We don't see you as different from us. Does it bother you? Does it matter? And then I thought to myself, actually, why is it bothering me? Because I'm comfortable with them. I'm there because they encourage me to be there. They are my friends and I'm not uncomfortable. They like me. I like them. We respect each other. So why should I just hang on this, okay, lady business? They're just saying it because they think of me as one of them. And so then I just sort of got over that unconscious bias in my head, saying, oh, like, oh, they are being whatever, right? And once I got rid of that from my head, I think generally in life, everything turned out fine anywhere else in any other forum as well. So to me, I don't really care men, women, whatever, right? It's just another gender thing. It's just gender. But I know that a lot of times the fact that a woman is a woman, and if you're young, so a young woman, they both get in the way. So that's just, how it is. And that's mostly the one bias that I've always had to deal with. But I think I'll let the other ladies handle the rest of the biases.
Does anyone else want to contribute to that question? It's open for everyone if they want to.
Can I speak on this? I'm speaking on general, not on personal. So what I've seen is men are very supportive for female success as long as they do not bypass them, right? So what I've witnessed and I've heard, when a woman who has inspired a lot and when a woman is shining, many men feel uncomfortable, right? And the first thing they get bias is, oh, because she's a woman, because she's that person, she got it there. So that mindset is always there conscious, and they do not see a woman's success as a competency or as a result success. This is, I have seen, and I have seen with matured men, not with young men, right? So I feel they are very uncomfortable to accept a woman also can be successful. I have witnessed it and I've seen it. If you come to my personal life in this thing, what I've seen is, because I speak on women, they think, oh, because you're divorced, because you hate men. I love men. I don't hate men at all. The thing is, because I cannot be biased only for men, because I have a son and a daughter, I have to be equal. I'm just trying to ensure that everyone, whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl, whether you're a man or a woman, they all have to work together if we really want to be successful. So I have been always cornered in Sri Lanka, not in internationalists, being cornered speaking about women. They look at you, when the moment you speak about women, they look at you as an enemy. Also, you have an activist. I'm not an activist because I do not want to fight for things, because we have things, right? I just want to get women to celebrate what they have already. You don't need to go fight for things, because we have things. It's just that women women wants invitations to come. Women don't demand. So that has been taken as granted by unconsciously by men, thinking that she's fighting for right. So that is something I have seen, and I'm again telling, this is with our age, not with your age, not with Y generation, not with millennium. I have seen it has changed. So this is with our generation, which I've seen a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Sulochana. Would anyone else also want to contribute to that particular question? Yes.
I'll just add one unconscious bias that I have experienced, and because I don't want to repeat what others have said. So I remember one thing they say is, okay, I've been in projects and stuff, and where you to work late, and they say, yeah, but that will be tough for you, Kasturi, because you can't work late. So I realized, and because I used to say, if I finish my work, I go early. So I used to say, why? No, because you have kids. I said, no, kids are there, but you make a choice. And sometimes when it's important, I will work late. So I remember this conversation when I was moving into shared services. They said, it's a project. And handling SAP, you will, can you do it? Because you'll have to work late. You won't be able to do it. I said, no, it's a bias you have. Or I just said, no, when the case arises, and if the need arises, I would be the one working in 12 or 1. But as a norm, I don't do that. So that was unconscious. I've repeatedly felt it at the early part of my career. And that was done with the intention that they knew I was a mom. But that was a bias I have faced.
Thank you, Kasturi. This next question is actually to you again, Ms. Kasturi. There are many women and men out there trying to have small businesses and startups. I'm sorry. That's not the question for you. My apologies. This is the question to Ms. Kasturi. What is one piece of practical advice you would give to someone starting their career in the professional job market, since our audience here is the youth?
Practical advice is, you have to have the right attitude from a job market perspective. As a recruiter, I think where I succeeded is I was naively bold. I was naively game for anything. I didn't have my thinking constrained on some job. I was open to choices, and I made the choices were given to me, and I didn't have a choice. I just said, do this, and I did it. So be open to opportunities. Look, you're young, you all have abilities to move agile across different options. Some of you all might not have the opportunity to have a qualification. Remember, that's not a barrier. Don't hold that as a complex, because you have different skills. Just lock in that first opportunity job and prove yourself. Be passionate about what you do. Each of us has a unique skill. That's like your USP. Learn what it is, because that, like Sandra said, look, I have strengths, don't pick up my weaknesses. Like that, in your your competencies, you know what you're good at. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm really not good at. So you need to figure it out and see what people values. For that, it's about self-awareness, listening to what people give feedback. But most of all, enjoy your journey, but learn to work with others, learn to ask the dumbest questions, don't feel shy, and take on any role. I mean, support others to succeed, and weirdly, all the opportunities will come. And I guess the social pressure here is that they want people to get a job earlier, and the peer pressure of, okay, I'm working here, this is my title. Don't worry about a title, just enter. I mean, one case in point is, if you look at Sandra today, she is CCO of the largest telco, and she's the most sought after digital consumer marketing person. Sandra, I'm doing a spiel for you.
I know, I'll buy you dinner.
Not
What are you
in
doing
Sri Lanka,
tonight?
globally, because I'm super proud of her.
Take us. What are you doing tonight? I buy you dinner.
But the reason is, when she started, she was in school with me, and she moved out of O-levels, and she was bold enough to, try a lot of things and figure out what she was good at. She was good at working with people, and she's moved in a career because it was passionate. She honed skills, she learned skills. So there will be different people with different situations. Don't let anything curtail you. Just figure out where you can move and be passionate about it. That's simple advice from me.
Yeah. This next question, the one I actually read before by mistake, is for Dr. Sulochana and Ms. Kishani Alanki. The question goes like this. There are many women and men out there trying to have small businesses and startups. What advice would you give someone who is interested in starting their own business? A woman, particularly. Can we start with Ms. Kishani?
So I think you have to discover your talent. You have to discover what you're passionate about. And also it's very important that whatever you do, whatever you choose to do with your life, that you're very bold and fearless. A lot of people say that confidence is very important, but if you are to be confident, you've got to be fearless. And that is something I've learned in my journey, is that if you want to do something, you've just got to let go of that fear. Because like fear is something I've realized that stops a lot of people from truly achieving their potential. So that's what I have to say. Just be bold and fearless.
Thank you, Alanki. Can we also listen to Dr. Sulochana?
If you want to be an entrepreneur or a startup, first thing is ready to fail, right? Have your own idea, don't copy it at all. And if you don't have investment, don't worry about it. Your investment is your customer. You don't take loans when you are starting. Take a loan after you start it. Right? So have an original idea, execute it, but do not look for profit, but look to get it to a success. Profit will follow you. And don't be someone who is actually carrying on someone's idea. Have your own idea, have your own brand, and then strive it for success. This is what I believe for startups and entrepreneurs.
Can I actually say something? I truly agree with Dr. Sulochana. I believe that if you are to succeed, if you are to be unique and different, and if you want to stand out, you've got to do your own thing. Do not copy, because you can't go long when you copy someone or someone's idea. So it's very important that you are being original and being true to yourself.
Thank you, speakers. This is the
Can
last
I just be controversial here, but I'm saying Samsung copies Apple and they do it very well.
But I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Apple has more sales, right?
And that's what I'm saying. I'm joking. Not in the truest form, but you can take somebody might have a fabulous idea and they could actually move it slowly, versus somebody who's takes his idea, can pivot it a bit more and make a bigger thing out of it, do it faster. I mean,
copying is you have to copy. You cannot say it's original. You have to copy, but copy it in a style that it belongs to you.
Yeah, and make your own secret sauce out of it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We've come down to the last question of the evening. This is open to everyone, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say to this particular question, because I think it's the most important question on the list today. What advice will you leave with ambitious young girls hoping to make their mark in the world or in Sri Lanka today? Can we start off with Sandra D'Souza?
I think what I can say is that, you just have to, the world is your oyster. In this day and age, given the fact that you are working with technology and you all are, obviously natives to, technology. And given that, it helps to bridge a lot of the knowledge or any other opportunities that are open, because uh, this whole, where we work and in the age where we grew up, we didn't have the kind of opportunities that young girls and boys have these days, given the fact that the world is open to you, right? You can do business right from your home, pick up a device, try something. You can learn new skills. You can do all that with the kind of technology. So technology is the greatest equalizer in the world. And you have been blessed, you've been lucky to be born in this era, to be having all these opportunities at your fingertips. So that being the case, I would just simply say, just make use of your time well, learn something, do something, try everything. Don't be afraid to take risks, and take your journey, enjoy it, but don't be lazy. Don't just wait to get to the CEO position in 2 years, or whatever, right? Even that is possible, right? I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg, when he started Facebook, we all know the story, right? So millionaires these days are even at 16. Billionaires are as young as millennials. So we didn't have that opportunity, right? No one was a billionaire and a millionaire at 16 and 14 or whatever in our time, or our parents' time, or grandparents' time. But now it's possible, right? So that just means it's possible only if you work hard, right? And if you focus and do your thing. It's not possible while just dreaming about it, sitting and waiting, talking about it. It's not going to happen, right? So all I'm saying is, don't be lazy, work hard, work hard, play hard, study hard, do everything. Since you talked about balance, I'm going to again just give this piece of advice that I don't take. Try and balance your life. Eat well, sleep well, exercise well, work well, have a good balance in your life. I'm still trying. It's a journey. So all of you should try and get to those milestones much faster than I ever did, because I think that's progress, right? Making progress, copying other people, learning from other people, and making faster progress is the way to go.
Thank you, Sandra. Can we hear from Kasturi next?
Yeah, so people with ambition, I think half the battle is won. You all have ambition. Look, I never had ambition on a career. So imagine I was a floater who ended up being lucky in a lot of ways. But having ambition is half the battle. Uh, there's life, more to life than the only career. So remember, understand it's a journey. You're in your beginning of your journey of life, and the fact that you have accepted the fact that you want a mental fulfillment and a career fulfillment, that's one part of your bucket. Like Sandra says, you have other parts of it. You have your personal life, you have your spiritual side of it. Make sure you give attention to all of these. One dimensional focus wouldn't be okay, but most of all, life is short. You don't know when you can't plan like for 5 years. I would be having one mantra: be happy with what you're doing today. Tomorrow is another day. And what does happiness mean? I had to be best at whatever I did. If I was doing whatever job, I needed to walk home in the evening thinking, I've done damn well in this job. So whichever you do, no job is small or big for you. When you go home, you should be fulfilled in some ways. There'll be tough times, make decisions, and then you need to work to live with it. And have your spiritual side, because like Sandra said, at these points are the times you can look out and see how blessed you are. When you look out and see that there are people struggling to just have 3 meals a day in this current situation, how can you kind of, the best way you feel your heart is full is when you help another person. So look, you're the next generation. Remember, there is a duty not only on your career and fulfilling your career aspirations and your monetary aspirations and life you want. There is a personal life of yours, and there is a spiritual side, and there is a community part. You all have to play a part in bringing our community up and together and supporting. So that's about it. But you all have the ambition, so you all are ahead of the race now.
Thank you, Ms. Kasturi. I'd like to hear from Dr. Sulochana next on the question that was mentioned before.
Okay, I think Kasturi and Sandra gave the most feedback, but I would say our eyes are given to look forward. So look forward. Once in a while, look backward, what has gone through. But then again, learn to say yes and learn to say no. Don't ever lose your values. Don't get married to success, because success is not just a one-time thing. Fall in love. Don't get scared to get married. If you want to get married, get married. If you want to have kids. But remember, as Kasturi said, you get only one life and life is short. In our ages, we didn't have role models to look up for. Now we all have Kasturi, Sandra, everyone to look up for. So you have people whom you can really look up and say, okay, she worked and she succeeded. She had a family and she didn't have a family. She was married, she was divorced, she had everything, but she's there. So you have options to look for. But don't try to be that role model. Look for things and be your own role model. And never lose your values, because I always say you can get a lot of things for yourself, but if you lose your values, the happiness is not there. So young girls, I would say, fall in love, enjoy friendship. Don't try to find friends, be a friend. In workplace, you have colleagues, not friends. So remember to get yourself, understand who are friends and who are work colleagues. And if you're running a business, be a business-driven person, do networking, but don't take that networking to your personal life and ruin your personal life. Learn to stand on your values and say no when it's necessary.
Thank you, Dr. Sulochana. And last but not least, we'd like to hear the input of Alanki as well with regard to the question.
I think regardless of what you do, it's very important that you are happy, and being happy is the only way you'll feel fulfilled. So it's important that you balance work, life, and your family. It's important that you do things that really feed your soul. Because at the end of the day, when you've grown old and when you look back in life, you're going to be proud of everything you accomplished, but you'll also look for moments that made life worthwhile. So it's important that no matter what you do, that you prioritize things in life. And with regards to young people who actually want to start up their own business, but who may have fear about starting up their own business, I would like to say, don't let fear define you. Be fearless. And if you are doing a business, or if you're going to start up a business, you're going to have to face risks. That's inevitable. Just have courage.
Thank you, Alanki. That concludes the questions for this evening. Thank you so much to all the speakers who were able to take time out of their lives to be with us here. It helped us a lot, gave us a lot of perspective. There's a lot of things I would like to say, to discuss, but we don't have time for that, so I'm just going to keep that to myself. However, I just want to remind the viewers that we had a competition and the 4 winners have been given to me, and I will read them out. But before that, I'd like to recognize our sponsors once more for the contributions that they have rendered towards this project, Better Why. Once again, our luxury lifestyle partner, Kelly Felder, our digital media partner, Daily Mirror Online and Lanka Deepa Online, and last but not least, our live stream partner, Flexus Labs. Ladies and gentlemen, revealing to you the winners of our online competition. All right. According to Facebook, the winners who've been picked off Facebook, Yuani Opata and Geeti Fernando, you are the winners of the gift vouchers for Kelly Felder. And from Instagram, Uvini Ranavira and Prasansa Gunavardhana are the winners for the gift vouchers. They'll be receiving a 5,000 rupee gift voucher to Kelly Felder. Congratulations on your victory. And thank you once again. I'd like to recognize our speakers once more, Dr. Sulochana Segera, Ms. Sandra Dizoiza, Ms. Kasturi Shilaraja Wilson, and Kishani Alanki Pereira. Thank you so very much for taking time out of your lives. A lot of perspective, a lot of discourse. We've come to a lot of conclusions tonight, and I hope all the women who tuned in, I hope you got a lot out of this session. If I were to summarize everything, just to give you what I also took out of it as well. Society today is conditioned by two perspectives, which is man and woman. If you listen to what our speakers told you very carefully, they told you how even in the corporate world, we are constantly defined as a man and a woman. And in the progression towards the future, what we have to look forward to is dismantling that definition of what is a man and what is a woman, where we come to an equal ground of gender equality. And once we are gender neutral, that is the ideal society for Sri Lanka, where we have no workplace discrimination and the best condition for all people in society. I hope this event was empowering to all of you, because being a member of the youth, talking to so many women, I hear how passive you might be, and that's not your fault. It's not your fault, it's society. And I think it's inspirational figures who we've heard today, who are the individuals who will inspire you, us, and everyone in society to reach greater heights. Thank you so very much for being a part of these proceedings. And that concludes Better Why. Good night.